Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 70. I'm Ian Scott.
At the 70-yard line, and I'm Zack Huber.
And that's definitely an NFL term. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what the NFL announcers say.
Yeah, for
every
sure.
Sunday night.
But this is the podcast where we talk about movies and TV topics from the last week and give them to you all this week. And this week we got a few exciting things we want to go over with you guys.
Yes, we are gonna be talking about that leak, if you want to say, of the picture of the Thing from the new Fantastic Four movie. We're going to talk about the Channing Tatum Gambit deleted scene of Deadpool and Wolverine that Ryan Reynolds leaked on his Instagram.
Yeah, with complete permission. Yeah.
And we will also be talking about news last week about Ultron coming into the Vision series. Well, in that same article, there was mention that it's kind of a third part of a trilogy. Spider-Man 4 might be the movie in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. But first, our topic that we're starting off with is the new Jurassic World movie, which is directed by Rogue One and the creator, Gareth Edwards, which is now titled Jurassic World Rebirth. So we got some plot details. We got the name, obviously, Jurassic World Rebirth. It's going to be in theaters next summer, July 2nd, 2025. We got some images of Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey in some cornfields.
We got one of Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
Just screaming with some with flares. Don't know what's going on, but there's corn and there's a need for a flare, I guess.
They're really giving away a lot to us right now.
And the story is going to take place 5 years after the last movie, which is arguably one of the worst movies I've seen in the past 10 years of my life, which was Dominion. So basically, the plot is, or the synopsis that they put out, most of the dinosaurs have died out due to the planet's ecology being largely inhospitable for them. Which I guess with global warming, I could kind of see it.
I just eye rolled so heavily.
But we had to move away from all of them being around on the world all the time. I think.
Okay, well, I'll get to that, but yeah, okay.
And in quotes, those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they thrived, which I can kind of buy. And then the three most colossal creatures within that tropical biosphere hold the key. And this is the part that, frankly, I'm not excited about. The three most colossal creatures. I don't know why they have to be the most colossal ones, but I don't know. Probably makes for a good movie.
Yeah, sure.
Within that tropical biosphere, hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous, life-saving benefits to humankind. And there is, I know from the cast that one of the characters is one of the companies. The company who wants this miracle drug, representative of sorts, most likely a bad guy, most likely. If not, we definitely know that. I don't want to say most definitely, but
that was the theme of the first movie, of that corporation and greed and the first Jurassic World movie, I would say, right,
and definitely the last one,
sure.
So. I'm gonna go on a limb and say the company's probably bad.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm a little annoyed that we are going back to another corporation, especially after all the stuff with the locust and the science research labs and Dominion. But the idea that this is kind of we're on a mission. We got these three big dinosaurs that we got to go tackle, which if I am imagining correctly, it's probably water, land, and air possible.
It's
possible.
so stupid. It's so stupid. I just want to say right here, besides the pictures that were released for this, I hate almost everything about this. Like I am just so annoyed with every like the title of the movie, the entire synopsis. I'm just like, this sounds atrocious. I get it's Gareth Edwards. I want to be excited for his movies.
Right.
But first off, the title. I'm upset that we're still doing Jurassic World stuff. Like they had to.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for a new like Jurassic something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now it feels
Jurassic
like the fourth movie. It feels like the fourth movie of a Jurassic World, franchise. And then you have it only set 5 years later when like I was hoping for, a new time period, something completely different from this. But I guess if you're doing it only 5 years later and you're relating it to the Jurassic World movies, it annoys me too that you're just getting rid of the entire plot point you built up to in that trilogy, which was having dinosaurs roam the planet. You didn't use them. You didn't use that plot point well in Jurassic World Dominion. And now it's over. It's like, and now we're back to them being contained on probably islands again. Like that's
probably.
And I'm just like,
well, maybe a cornfield. Maybe a cornfield.
Maybe, but they said equatorial environments, so that doesn't make me think cornfields.
Yeah, it makes you think of something at the
like
equator.
Tropical, right? At the equator, yeah, right. So I think so many of the ideas are just falling flat for me. And then you have this like ridiculous plot point of like, let's get blood or something from each of those 3 dinosaurs and combine them together to make a super drug. And you're just like, dude, this just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's for me, because they fucked it up so bad with the dinosaurs roaming the entire Earth last time. I was like, all right, let's just scale it back a little bit. Let's get them into thinking. Like a,
right.
So I'm like, I'm cool with that. I'm even cool with, even though, like, I'm sure they'll warp in like a bit of like climate change stuff, which like, I'm like, yeah, like,
sure.
I agree. Like, I think climate change is obviously a real thing, and it should be like, if we're gonna put it in a movie, like that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the climate's changed so drastically that they can't survive like
so much in like in 5 years.
In 5 years, but
we're like we weren't really talking about that in the last 3 movies, but now 5 years later, it's like so bad they're dying.
Maybe the science, presented something. I don't know.
Sure. I'm sure there's a lot of science in Jurassic World.
Which, there should be
I mean,
science, that's
there is. I just don't think it's accurate science. But yeah, go on. Yeah.
But it is the tracking down for a miracle drug that I'm not crazy about that.
You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah, what?
It reminds me of in Star Wars Episode 9 when they had to find those 3 keys.
Yeah, it's like a treasure hunt. Yeah.
Right. It's like we're in a video game and we're going on a fetch quest. Like genuinely, that's what it feels like. And I hate those kind of like, I don't know. It just feels like you've set us up for a really bland journey so we can get a bunch of dinosaur chase scenes like we did in the last movie. Like I feel like this is revealing to me. I'm just so tired of the Jurassic World concept, Jurassic Park concept, because like in a sense, all the movies stem off of the theme like don't play God, with the world, and like don't alter things that you shouldn't be altering. And how many times do we need to learn that lesson? This is like the 7th time, and I'm just tired. I'm tired.
I'm there with you. I mean, I don't think I've liked a Jurassic franchise movie since the 3rd one, which was maybe it was the Lost Kingdom.
No, that was I think it was just Jurassic Park 3 or
what? Maybe
I can't. I mean, Lost. Lost World?
One.
Was it Lost? I can't remember. Lost. I don't know. Yeah, you're just something like that.
But that was the last one that I enjoyed. Really liked.
Agreed. Yeah, I liked Jurassic Park 3 a lot. Yeah.
And I agree with you. Maybe they should take that logic and stop messing with the Jurassic franchise and just let it be. But the one thing that I would like to hold judgment for is that it is Gareth Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
They do have Mahershala Ali and they do have Scarlett Johansson.
Now, look, that's a killer trio right there. Like that's, props. That's the only thing that's making me excited so far.
Right. And so I may hate what I'm seeing from the plot here, but maybe in practice when we watch the movie, I'll be like, no, I'm into it. So I'm not gonna completely write it off right now.
I think I could be into it in a sense for just like, if there is good action, maybe just the eye candy. I can be like, this is great acting, this is great directing and great cinematography, and I can just like watch for that and not the story.
Because what if we find out that the people who are, I don't know, hunting down for this, one of them is like the scientist who says that they can make the thing and that they have to go on the trip with them. And their whole thing is they want to make this miracle drug to save somebody that they love. Like, then it gets a little bit more...
Sure.
Personal, which could be the case. It could also not be.
A good love story can be great. So.
In my book, Gareth Edwards is like 1 and 1. I really liked Rogue One. I really was let down by the creator. So this could kind of go either way.
Sure. But it could.
I don't hate the name. I kind of am okay with it. It's, I wish it wasn't Jurassic World. I wish it was like, I'm fine with the Rebirth. I just kind of.
What if it was just Jurassic Rebirth? I could be fine with that. I just don't want it to be a fourth movie like attached to these others. It was a crap trilogy, and we need to start over. Just start brand new. I mean, it can be the same universe, same world, but just like really detach yourself from that last one. Even though it made a ton of money for you guys, that doesn't mean it was good.
Yeah. Make an underwater Jurassic movie. That could be cool.
That'd be awesome. I mean, we got glimpses of that in the first Jurassic World, so where they went underwater, and actually they kind of did that a little bit in the second one too. But it's just a glimpse every movie, Yeah. Give me a little more. Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll fuck it up because they gave a glimpse of a T-Rex in what was it, New York or whatever, and we're like, in the city, and then
and then they wanted to build to that the entire rest of the trilogy, and so this you can tell we don't like this trilogy, this franchise at this point, but
really since
also
2000 what 15
yeah. I mean, because I going out of that first one and I was like, that was okay at best. Like that was a pretty weak movie. I'm also just surprised at this is like another huge movie coming out in July. I don't know, like of next year, like along with Fantastic Four and Superman. So that's going to be a packed month. I would almost bet money that one of those movies moves release dates, because I mean, like one of those movies is getting killed by like the other one. I don't know which one, but I would assume it's Jurassic World, but those make like $1 billion every time. So it feels like maybe Superman would get sandwiched and killed. But I don't know.
It could.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Superman is on July 25th.
I think it comes out before Fantastic Four though. That's why I was saying it like would be sandwiched,
It comes out. Okay, so it comes out July 11th, which if it was to move, I mean, I don't know. It might have to just stay there, because I mean, you have it's this movie. It's gonna have
July 2nd
at least, most likely, it's gonna have at least a 50% drop off. Next week you have Superman, and then if Fantastic Four is the week after it, I mean, I don't really know where you move it other than
I think you got to move to August, like just a month later. I mean, I'm hoping. I don't want it to move to August, so I would rather Jurassic World Rebirth does, but
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
I don't think I see it happening either, because I think they're like, yeah, we make $1 billion, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm happy to see Mahershala Ali back in a movie, because it's been a while since we've seen him in anything. I was reading that he hadn't been in like a major blockbuster since 2019. And I think that's
true.
That's probably because he's been in like limbo with Blade for so long that he's just been like saying no to other projects. But
yeah, I mean, what was the last thing I saw him in? Well, he was Uncle Aaron in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, voicing though is a little easier than like having to show up for like performance acting,
The last movie I saw him in was Swan Song, and that was 2021, and that was a movie that came out on like Apple.
So yeah, definitely not a major one.
Geez, yeah, he is.
And I'm hoping to see Scarlett Johansson in something better than Black Widow. So hopefully,
well, that's not true. He was Blade in the post-credit scene of Eternals.
He wasn't even in the shot. He just was a voice.
He also was in Leave the World Behind, which came out last year, which was like a Netflix movie, but
yeah. I mean, he's still acting, but nothing like crazy. Yeah. So yes, there are a few reasons why we're a little excited, but mostly I'm definitely not happy. Yeah. Well, next we got like you said earlier, we got a pretty cool leak that of
leak.
Right.
I don't know if leak.
Yeah, but it was from the set of the Fantastic Four set, and basically there was a bunch of people. There was a video, and there's a bunch of people kind of like putting the thing's head onto the body prosthetic. I don't really know. I'm assuming there's somebody inside, and so I think a lot of people got excited that this was a practical suit, but I don't think it should get anyone worried that it would look bad, because I think it's not going to be like 100% practical. They'll do a bunch of CGI over it, and it'll be a base, just like Ultron was at one point. He was practical, and then they did a bunch of CGI on him. But like the design, I thought looked really good. I thought he looked very, like, his face looks very comic accurate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and then like the costume that he has, like the suit he has on, looks very much like the hand drawn thing we got, like the first teaser. Remember that hand, like for Valentine's Day, I think it was.
Yeah.
He looks like that, and I was like, okay, this is going in a good direction. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I read that it's a practical stand-in, but it's going to be there's going to be CGI over top of that.
Right.
So it's not a fully CGI, but it's also not fully practical. I mean, to be honest, they might completely just scrap the practical of it and just like take what the
body shape,
the suit, the shape, and like how the light is reacting to it in the environment to make it feel a bit more realistic.
Yeah, it could just be like a reference. You're right. Yeah.
Because I think even Ibn Mas Baccarat,
something like that.
The guy who's playing him, was saying that the old Michael Chiklis suit felt a little bit more like cosplay, and that we've kind of moved past that a bit. And I still like that Michael Chiklis.
I do too.
Thing.
Yeah, I don't think it looks bad.
But I agree. I understand what he's saying. Like because you don't want to necessarily go in the direction of what Josh Trank's Fantastic Four did.
Yeah.
Where it was just this like slate, monster that really wasn't.
No, anything. That wasn't good. Right. Yeah,
like the Thing, but I do think that we've gone to a place with CGI, especially after somebody like Thanos, that you can. The practical is great, and can be used to do some things that give it a little bit more like groundedness, but I think you absolutely need to use a little bit more CGI to make this feel not like cosplay, like you said, because I do like that Michael Chiklis suit, but like it's not. It could be better. It could be better.
I would agree with you. I think if you put the Michael Chiklis suit into like our current MCU, he would feel out of place.
Yes.
You know, and so okay, I can agree with that. I like I said, I don't think it looks bad, but I definitely wouldn't mind seeing something improved. I think he could have more, I think, of a presence and as the Michael Chiklis version. Like if he was a little more CGI, maybe he'd be, a little more full and I don't know what you would call it, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like just like intimidating, like, or, like just bigger in there. I don't know how to, say what I'm saying, but.
Yeah. But in regards to how it looks, I think it looks great. I mean, it literally looks like the Thing from the comics. Like
like the brow is like perfect and
huge, big brow.
Yeah.
Circular
the color looks
head.
good. Yeah.
I'm still nervous about these suits. I know some people are really excited about these suits.
I love these suits.
I think they're fun. I do like them, but I'm just nervous that I don't know. Like I'm just nervous. I think this is really exciting and that they're definitely going to lean into that, like a bit of like Jetsons, 60s, but it's future, kind of mindset where things are kind of like you even saw like in that preview at Comic-Con, the Thing behind a love dating show. So like there's like an air of
like a playfulness
right. And like it's a bit silly, but it's
like
still
lighthearted.
but it's still like you can tell it's still serious. So I'm just curious what the balance is going to be, because at this moment I can't tell. I think I'm really excited. It's just these suits are like, when you look at the John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic suit, which like I think it's a fine suit. I dig it.
It's all right.
But it's like it's more, darker, more blue, and it's a bit more of what you would expect to come out of like a Marvel or a superhero movie. And then even with most recently with Deadpool and Wolverine, when you have Johnny Storm, like if you take a look at that suit, it's still like very similar. It has similar aspects where it's mostly blue, uses a lot of black, feels like a quote unquote superhero suit, but like a modernized, kind of sleek sort of thing. Whereas these suits feel, I don't know, like first of all, there's a shit ton of white. Like a pastel blue, and they feel more like clothing, like
I think why
one
I'm
layer thing.
So okay with it is because it's a completely different. Like when I look at like Johnny Storm and the Reed Richards we've already seen, those feel like they're modern day or in the future versions of themselves, and those suits serve fine for being modern or futuristic, right? But when you go back to a 60s era, even though it is futuristic, I think it's perfect to have these kind of retro, kind of futuristic type suits. I think what a lot of people like about the retro aesthetic of this movie is that, like, I don't know if this is, maybe I'm imagining things, but like in my mind, I feel like those earlier comics, like, it felt like they were really like wearing, like almost like clothes, right? Or like it wasn't like for padding. It was just like a skin tight suit, and that's what you got, right? And I feel like people and I myself really appreciate that these suits feel real. They're not like a CGI version, and I think the color scheme, the design, the feel of it all plays into their theme and time period.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I just am very interested to see what the tone is.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll like I think you said it. I think it'll be a lighthearted with a lot of heart. I didn't want to say heart twice, but like it's gonna be a good time, and I think the suits and theme reflect it. So yeah.
Yeah. But the thing looks great.
It does look great.
I'm really excited to see it in action.
Yeah, I haven't been disappointed once from something I've seen about this movie. So, yeah, I couldn't be more excited for this one. Probably my most anticipated Marvel project. But yeah, the other kind of MCU news. Well, there's actually a lot, but another one is we got a trailer, or not a trailer, but like a kind of what was supposed to be an end credit scene released from Ryan Reynolds himself.
A deleted scene.
Yeah, showing Gambit kind of walk around the battlefield that they had just slaughtered all the past X-Men villains on. And he turns around and there's like a reflection of the Marvel sparkle circle in his eyes. And I think this isn't for nothing. I don't think they would release this just for a joke. I think they did cut it out because they weren't obviously sure how the reception to that character was going to be. But I do think, and from what I heard, like in the actual movie on one of the TVA monitors, that scene is showing for a brief moment, like him walking around and like turning around. So here's my thought. I don't think he'll get a spin-off movie because there's no way they like invest that heavy into this character. That was kind of a joke in a sense. I think what they do is they reuse him for an Avengers movie, or he gets his own like animated show. And because I think it would be easier to put that together than to give him his own movie. And I don't think they want to give just anyone a movie in this Marvel universe, right? And I think they're like the animated stuff can serve the lesser stories.
Because that defeats the purpose of this whole thing. If you were to make it animated, it's nothing. It means nothing, because the whole point of having Channing Tatum come back, and also to put this out where Ryan Reynolds has said, we need more of this. Like Channing Tatum was meant to play this role. Like I loved him in this role. We need to see more of him. If you were to be like, yeah, Channing, it was great. Everybody, reception of you has been great. We're going to make an animated show where you, again, will not be putting it on. You'll just be voicing the character. I think would be like, I'm sure.
I think he would love it. I think he would do it in a second.
I'm sure he would. But I think it would be a wasted opportunity. And I think that nobody really wants that. Nobody really wants that.
But there's no way he's getting his own like show or movie in live action.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that he's going to get his own movie. I think he might show up in like an Avengers project. Right. I think that's very unlikely. What I think this means is that he is probably going to be a part when the X-Men do come. He will be the Gambit for that X-Men team. Yes.
Like when Marvel's like original like not like from the past Fox unit, like you're saying their own X-Men come in, yes, he would be a part of them.
Yes.
Wow. I'd be willing to bet that's not true. But I don't know. I mean, maybe like it's for sure possible. I just think it was made so apparent that like this Gambit was a part of this like era of Fox movies that we were like leaving behind in a sense. I know we just got this teaser that kind of teases more of him. But I feel like like all of those characters still belong to the past Fox universe, and then once Marvel has their own characters they want to like actually create and bring in and have their own universe, they'll have an entirely new cast. Like, I don't think there's going to be a single remnant, but
here's the thing. He never even like, I understand what you're saying.
Right. Because
he never even was.
Yeah. He never appeared in any of those movies. You're right.
And if we're still going to deal with like variants and all that stuff, he can just play Gambit, maybe just like a teensy tiny bit differently. Look a little bit different.
I think if the next time we see him, there's no way he'll like be doing a funny voice anymore. You know, like I think he'll take the voice like incredibly much more serious. Yeah, but I think it'll be a different kind of portrayal, right?
But I think that you could still totally have Channing as the next Gambit, who's a different Gambit, but like still Gambit. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. I guess in all of our theories though, that scene of him like kind of grinning back and like it's being teased that he'll show up again. Neither of our theories like match with that, you know, because it's not because like our character, like those characters aren't the same Gambit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so if we're looking at this just based on like if that Gambit was to come back,
because I do kind of agree with you. I think you're kind of on the right track.
If this particular Gambit was to come back, they're not going to make, like you said, they're not going to make a whole movie based on this one portrayal when they know that they're probably going to have another Gambit, hopefully still played by Channing Tatum in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to do that. I think an animated series would be like, it's the same thing as like having Napoleon Dynamite, the movie, and then Napoleon Dynamite, the animated show that came out. It's like, you're not getting what you came for. They're two different mediums, and it's not what I want. But if we're talking about this portrayal, the only thing that I could see him coming back for is either Secret Wars.
Yes. Yeah.
Or B, which I think is probably the most likely, or B, him showing up in the next Deadpool movie, and it's a bit like, I don't know, Gambit and Deadpool go and do something, you know, take down a Louisiana villain. I don't know. So
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if there is ever Deadpool 4, he could easily show up. I think that's a very real possibility. I don't think I even really considered that. That might be my favorite spot where like it's either that for me, like him showing up in Secret Wars, or he shows up in a Deadpool 4 and he's part of like his crew now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. And I think the point of this being released is Ryan Reynolds really loved having Channing Tatum play this character.
He believes in him and like in this character.
Yeah.
Like, he really loves it. Yeah.
And I think that you know, it's kind of reminiscent of like, you know, when he leaked the Deadpool, you know, test footage. But I think this is like, yeah, we're gonna pretend like I leaked it, but it's like Disney definitely gave him
it was from his own Twitter account. Right. Yeah.
And I think that with the great reception that this particular character's had and all the great buzz about it, and his portrayal, also just to put this out is like I feel like an extra feeler of like, hey, are you guys excited if we do? Like we're fairly certain that you are.
Right.
And
this is teasing a return. How do you feel? Right.
Yeah. And I think everybody's been like, yes, we would like that.
I've only seen one like negative tweet that like kind of got a lot of likes about it, but
which was what?
Basically like the tweet, the guy was like, you know, like it was fine for one appearance, but like please don't like have him back again. And it got like 25,000 likes or something, and I was like, oh, okay.
I think that I agree with that a little bit, because I think that's probably coming from a place of I really hated how like funny he was.
Yeah. If you're a true Gambit fan, I mean, I guess I think that made a lot of people happy, his appearance, but like they could do without the jokingness of it, right?
Right, which is what I'm guessing is what that is coming from. So in that regards, yeah, like I'd like to see him come back in like another
a different
way.
Yes, agreed. I don't want to see, I would like. Right. I don't want to be like having to guess what he's saying, you know. But which is fun, right? But like for another movie, I think I can do it without.
Yeah.
Well,
but I do think that he's coming back.
Yeah, I would agree
one way or another,
for sure.
Just not an animated show. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like with the animated show too, it's like they've very clearly stated that like an animated universe now is like everyone is actually animated, so it couldn't be the same character from this movie, you know. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that's gonna happen. But
and I just feel like they would like, part of the thing that was funny about him was that all these characters, like they were real life human beings.
Yeah.
And he's talking like, "Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself," and it's just the most ridiculous thing that somebody could say. And to put it into an animated context, like, I just feel like I'm gonna get a super exaggerated version of that.
Yeah. And plus, like,
and it's already like gonna be like, we're already kind of expecting characters to be elevated,
right?
So it's like, how much of that am I actually gonna be thinking is like fun or novel? Like, I don't know.
Sure. And you said it earlier too, that like the people came to see or would come to see Channing Tatum play the entire character, not just voice. Yeah. Because I don't think that captures the magic of his entire performance, you know? And so I definitely agree. I think we're on the same page. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say on Gambit. But yeah, so we like you said earlier, we got a really interesting tidbit from the Hollywood Reporter that this upcoming Vision show, even if it isn't titled Vision Quest at this point, I don't know what it's going to be called, will be the third in a trilogy of first WandaVision, then Agatha All Along, and now Vision. I don't think either of us, even like, you know, these shows have been on the slate for a long time, and I don't think any of us expected it to be a like 1, 2, 3, because Marvel hasn't done that really in a long time. And like the closest we got to interconnected movies as of recently was like WandaVision to Doctor Strange, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so now, we're getting kind of a direct sequence of Marvel Disney Plus shows, which, like, you know, WandaVision was, I thought, a really great show, one of their best. And, you know, if Agatha All Along can hold my interest enough, I think I can be excited for the third act of this story. And I do it like, because it's a trilogy, I'm expecting now Agatha to set up like the Vision Quest era of this story. And my prediction is that by the end of Agatha, it will maybe reveal the person who, like, my theory is that it'll reveal Mephisto, who was maybe manipulating Wanda this whole time and, like, you know, manipulated her into like killing all those people and using the Darkhold and whatever. And then like it'll bring Wanda back from the death. And
from the death.
Yeah, that was weird way to say it, wasn't it? Bring her back from the dead.
From the dying.
Yeah. And
from the die.
And then, you know, Vision Quest will be
Vision death.
Maybe no. But maybe Vision, like, knowing now that like she's out there and wanting to reconnect and trying to find her, and maybe that's his quest. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be his quest to find great eye care and a great insurance plan. It'll just be him shopping around, be like, "Oh, well, do you take my insurance? I'm really trying to get my ocular health well."
I don't get the joke.
Vision. Vision.
But okay. I'm sorry. He's
on a quest for great.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I was just like, he doesn't have bad vision.
Oh man. I was not expecting this to be a trilogy of any sorts. If anything, I just thought that it would, do the normal through line of stories within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Where they loosely connect and right.
Yeah, and it's like, like at least WandaVision and Vision Quest or whatever it's going to be called. If you like Vision, you probably would have watched those shows, and therefore, like, there's going to be a through line of
yes.
I don't know. Maybe this has been the plan all along. I don't know if this is some sort of quote unquote hype builder, like some sort of thing to generate interest in.
Easily could be,
but maybe it's been the plan all along. Maybe it's been Agatha and Vision all along has been the plan. But I think I don't want it to be true that Wanda's going to come back from the dead in a Disney Plus show. Seems a bit odd.
Sure, no, that is a huge thing to happen.
And that's just a theory, but like, it's. I'm curious
because she is like been reported to be in the Vision show, and so that's why I'm like, well, maybe she's actually alive in that.
Could be, or it could be like she's the good, the good.
Yeah, like I was saying last week. Right.
Regarding Agatha though, I'm curious what the connection would be, other than like, I really just thought that Agatha was, well, everyone really liked Catherine Hahn's Agatha, so we're gonna make a show around her because that was the mandate back in the day to kind of
just make new shows of popular characters.
What works,
right?
But maybe they found something that's a cool through line that really is going to tie these this to Vision Quest. I don't know.
I hope so.
I really kind of doubt. I think to me, if I had from what I'm theorizing, I think that it's a very loose trilogy. A very loose trilogy.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think. Well, one, I think you're probably, well, I don't want to sound cynical, but you could be very easily right about the fact that, they were working on both these shows around a similar time. Like this one's coming out this year, and then Vision Quest is coming out in 2026. And they're like, hey, everyone loved WandaVision. How about we make a 3-part story and broadcast that to build hype, right? And I think the other and I think before they even decided to do this, I was just assuming that like there was WandaVision here, and then like a branch came off here and a branch came off here, and that was Vision Quest and that was Agatha, know. And I would be totally fine with that, because it did have multiple branch endings that you wanted to follow. But I mean, I love a trilogy, so if they can pull it off, it's exciting. Is what I'm saying. But here's
the thing: can you really call it a trilogy? Because
there's so many things in between, or
because technically there is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness,
right? So
you're looking at a 4-part story, really, because even in Agatha all along, we're acknowledging that Wanda is now dead.
Right. Well, I think maybe they're talking about like a show trilogy, which
I know, but then
and then a movie in between the first and second show, right?
Imagine, and granted, I'm gonna hold judgment best I can until I see Agatha all the way through, but
gosh, that's next month.
What if you had just seen WandaVision and were like, oh yeah, I'll watch Agatha all along because I heard it's the next in this trilogy. And you're like, wait, when did Wanda die?
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I had a friend who saw Doctor Strange and didn't see any of the WandaVision stuff. And he was like, yeah, I was a little lost. There's a lot of stuff about Wanda I just didn't know. And I was like, yeah, you needed to watch the show.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, and it is something I like about Marvel. I like the connectivity of it.
But that time they could have been at least said, I don't even know. I mean, they kind of mentioned, they alluded to her holding Westview hostage, but did they say in that movie, well, when I was holding Westview
town hostage,
I
right.
created a fake reality, and
Yeah, like they
I
definitely
created
didn't.
these fake children. I don't think
Right.
that they did.
No.
And so everyone would have had to seen WandaVision beforehand. Otherwise, they're like, why does she want these kids? Why is she bad now? Why is she spooky? Where's this book come from? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And maybe it's a bad thing, like for Marvel to be disconnected between things.
It's not. It's just they used to make movies where if you saw things beforehand, you wanted to have the added benefit of it being connected and understanding certain things that were said, you could. But everything used to be like, you don't really have to watch that. All you need to know is this very baseline information, and then it all makes sense for the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
So it used to be like there's a new Marvel movie. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, and if you have base knowledge of the MCU, then you're pretty good. Right.
You don't even need to know. You used to not even have to know that anything about the MCU. You could walk into Infinity War, even though, like, yes, you would miss a lot of things, but you would understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, you could probably do the same with like all three of the Captain America movies. You just get the fact in the second one that he had a best friend that he thought was dead, and then Bucky turns up, and then the third is just a completely new story that ties into
following
the
Winter
Avengers,
Soldier,
right? The consequences, and you're following Winter Soldier, but it's a very easy concept to pick up, and I think audiences get
happened,
it, right? The Avengers were partially responsible, and that's all you need to know. So. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will bite him in the butt. Maybe it'll build hype. We'll see. We'll see how connected it really is.
I think it's very loosely connected.
I'm very excited now for the finale of Agatha to see if it does what I want it to.
I'm very excited for the end of Agatha because not only will it be over,
there you go.
I'll get to know I'm gonna see in Vision.
There you go. Exactly. You get my thinking. Yeah. But I'll be following Agatha now for sure. A little more interested, and maybe that's what Disney wanted. So
this is what they wanted all along, and now they've even pulled you in.
They pulled me in. The biggest hater of Agatha. So we'll see if it holds up and actually meets my expectations.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I do want things to be good. I'm not like rooting for things to be bad. So so last report that we got today from the MCU was that Spider-Man 4 reportedly will be set in between the two Avengers movies, and that it could possibly end up being a multiverse movie again.
Now, granted, this is coming from Daniel RPK on Twitter.
Sure.
So
sure.
He said some things that are true. He said some things that are not true.
Was the Avengers thing also Daniel RPK?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So they were both okay.
So it's take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. I think we talked about this. When we were theorizing, we were making a theory that. I think I even said, it might be that Spider-Man 4 is the movie that comes in between. It might be a little weird to have the fourth Spider-Man movie take place after the two Avengers movies, especially after what's Peter been up to. But I still think that you could easily have an Avengers movie where we pick up with Peter, he's doing something new, and we don't really need to know that much. And then we can skip to his fourth movie whenever that happens. But it did seem like something that, I don't know if you would have Spider-Man exactly show up immediately in Avengers Doomsday. But I think, you might.
Here's the thing. If he is set in between the two movies, that makes me believe he wouldn't be in Doomsday. Because that's, I would think they would follow the strategy like they did with I think they released both Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp after Avengers Infinity War. And both of those characters that were in those movies did not appear in the movie, and they had like reasons behind it.
Right.
So I would hope the same for this. I wouldn't mind that formula.
Right.
I thought it was a good one.
Right. The only thing that I'm a little hesitant about with it is, besides it being just a rumor of kind of report, out of all the characters, to see somebody like Robert Downey Jr. now portraying the villain and not having Tom Holland show up in the Doomsday Avengers movie.
Sure.
Now, he's definitely going to be in Secret Wars. Most likely.
Yeah.
So, like, you would still get it there, but there's something that I feel like you would want to follow that through line a bit throughout both the movies, if it needs it.
I feel you.
So
didn't even think about that.
I'm questioning if this is true, especially because now you would have a great year, like a great, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3
Doomsday
quarters.
And then Spider-Man, like,
and then Secret Wars, like,
the next year, right?
You would be making a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, the way that this would be is like, you probably would not have him in Doomsday. You would take place, the movie would be taking place before that, and then somehow it would need to lead into whatever happens in Secret Wars. Not exactly, like, does it have to have like the whole main story be about it? It could kind of be the way that Ant-Man and the Wasp did it. I don't want to say that just because that's the only other instance that we've had, that's like how they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the report of it being another multiverse movie, I really don't want it to be.
Because that's not what they set up. You know, they set up the opposite.
And I understand that it's still taking place during the multiverse saga.
Yeah, right.
But like Thunderbolts and Captain America,
right? Those look like grounded ass movies.
Brave New World, very grounded. I hope that it's down to earth and not multiverse.
Me too.
But it's kind of hard to say no to having those 2 extra Spider-Man pop up again at some point.
Sure, and I think they will. I think they will in Secret Wars probably. I think I am surprised, like, by him being like, because I think both of us were theorizing that it would either be Doctor Strange 3 in between those 2 movies, or it'd be Shang-Chi 2. And I think both of those are better fits. Because logically you would want it to be tied to the multiverse in between these 2 massive multiverse movies. And so, for us to, I guess, like you just said, like Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of like took us back to like groundedness in between, you know, Infinity War and Endgame. But I don't know. I don't think it's the right choice. And I definitely don't think it's the right choice to make it a multiverse movie. And like, even if you went, I don't know if you remember my idea from like months ago, but, you know, if you were to do a multiverse movie, my thought was to bring in the character of like Morlun, who's like this multiversal traveling villain.
No.
But my only reason for that is because you could still set it in New York. Like it could still, like, it would just be a multiverse villain. And he would have to, you know, fight this person in his own setting, right? And I think that's like the best balance you can get for a multiverse movie with Spider-Man. But I don't necessarily want that either. So, a little worried about this one.
Or Spider-Man 4, and this would be nice. This would be nice. Spider-Man 4. He gets the black suit. From the Venom, little
that they snatched up in Venom 3.
That was at the end of No Way Home. And just like the original Secret Wars, Spider-Man's in the black suit. You get to have Spider-Man in the black suit in the Secret Wars. And that would be a nice tie-in. That would be a nice thing for like comic book readers and fans to have a bit of like comic history implemented into there. And it could be that, you know, Spider-Man gets, while he's got the black suit on, does something really terrible.
Yeah.
Does something really bad in Secret Wars. And then he has to deal with that afterwards.
In Spider-Man 5, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really odd to, leave Spider-Man 4 with him still having the black suit. That'd be interesting.
But here's the thing. I think that potentially the way to do it is not have Spider-Man 4 in between this movie. And or if they do have it, Spider-Man 4 happens, no black suit, but he gets it at the end, like as like a post-credit thing, and then it latches onto him into like Secret Wars.
I mean, here's the thing. I think you would actually make a lot of fans happy with, like, even if he had it, like for a majority of, Spider-Man 4 and then carried it into the next the next Avengers movie. I think that would make a lot of fans happy, because from what I hear, that Venom arc is a lot longer than like what we've gotten in movies in the past. So I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think it'd be pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, but the only thing that I would rather have it take place during not like he could still
to get it in Spider-Man 4, right?
Well, he could get it in Spider-Man 4, and by the way, this is all just hypothetical
theories and
But if he could keep it after Secret Wars and then have like the where he's fighting with it afterwards, would be, because you could have that through line of like, we saw that he got it at the end of Spider-Man 4. Even if you don't watch like Secret Wars, you would then still see, hey, Peter's still got like that, like had that thing latch on to him. Now we're dealing with it. And it's not like a jarring thing the way that like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was, where it was like, well, you kind of had to see Infinity War.
Yeah. For sure. No, you definitely had to see Infinity War and Endgame, which is like, and when I watched those movies, I watched Infinity War and Endgame to get to the holiday special in 3. But I think that is.
And you watched Thor: Love and Thunder.
No, I don't. But that's because there's no point. There's no point. But I do think that would be a really good idea, where you have like I think you could cut basically like Ant-Man and the Wasp. You cut back in time for before Avengers Doomsday, and then like you see what Spider-Man is up to, and then like he gains the black suit like midway or like towards the end of the movie, and I would say midway, because then it could really explain, like, one, like it's already hard to say, like, to try to contact Peter because no one knows who he is, and then 2, the Venom suit gives him like a clear, I think, somewhat of like an alter ego that would resist wanting to like go with the Avengers or maybe help the Avengers. I think it could explain why he's not in Doomsday. I think if you did it that way. Sure. So I think we've come to a pretty nice spot where this could work, but it can't be a multiversal story. We can't have both.
I mean, and here's the thing. I think your villain idea, like, I really hope they don't go with it.
No, I think the Venom thing would be better. I agree.
But like, if it was a multiversal movie, like, what would it like? And that's like, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just like, but what would it be? Like, people.
Well, I think
people were really excited with No Way Home because we were getting multiversal from past Spider-Man movies come into the 616, and that was exciting. And you could have the same thing again. I just don't know what it would be, and it feels a bit like No Way Home, part 2, and I don't know if that's the way to go. But if you were to have him go through the multiverse, I'm like, who, like, unless he's going through like some kingpin, particle accelerator or whatever the hell it was from Into the Spider-Verse, like, I don't know how he gets into the multiverse. There's not a whole lot of villains of his, if any, that deal with the multiverse. He's not going to be in contact with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't make sense. I agree.
They might be able to find a way for it to fit. like maybe since
I think the only way it works. Sorry,
since the Fantastic Four happened,
Mhm.
and there is a lot of like when Peter goes to college, he interns at the Baxter Building and he works for
Right.
the Fantastic Four.
Mhm.
There could be something like that happens. I don't know, but
maybe I think that's a stretch. I I don't know. I think the only way a multiversal story happens is maybe like you like Sony maybe gets greedy and ties in like the Spider-Verse stories, and like maybe Spider-Verse pulls him into their multiverse stuff. I genuinely can't conceive of a grand multiverse story for Spider-Man, because we already got like, I think the grandest multiverse story we could get in No Way Home for Spider-Man's character and story,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we're both on the same page. It'd be a mistake to do multiverse.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, it works like only because the multiverse has happened before.
Yeah, it's been happening for a while, right?
They teased it in Far From Home. It actually happened in No Way Home.
Yeah.
But for all intensive purposes, that was a trilogy of movies, and at the end of it,
it's a pretty good one.
He is homemade suit Peter Parker.
Yeah, living on his own, independent, new life, and so why would he not be a grounded character in a grounded story? Yeah. I don't get it. But Sony wants to do their things, I'm sure, and they have a lot of say in what happens with their character. So yeah, I'm curious for more reports and details to come out about this, but I guess we'll have to stick tight for now. But yeah, I think that's all of our topics for today. I don't know if you had anything you had to watch this past week that was exciting.
Well, I saw Rear Window, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie from 1954.
Nice.
Which was released via Fandango at a movie theater.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that is a good movie. That is like, you would really like it because it is a one location movie.
Nice.
But it's done in a way that's so interesting, and the set is so impeccably detailed, and the different characters that they have inhabiting the set is so fascinating, and they all intertwine so well. It's movies like that where like the one setting scenario it works so well because there's so many interesting things to go. Like, part of the reason that I don't like one setting movies as much sometimes is because the pull sometimes feels like, oh, it's one setting and look at what they can do. And it's like, but was there actually that much going on to warrant it
to justify
place?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I don't feel that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I could have really used getting out of that one room.
Right.
But this is a photographer, I think mostly somebody who does like war photography or going over in other locations, played by God, what is his name? Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, okay.
And he broke his leg, so he is stuck. He's been stuck at home for like 6-7 weeks with a cast on his leg, and he's had nothing to do but look out the back window. And he's in New York City, and so it's all his neighbors and all their lives and what they're doing.
Interesting. Okay.
And he also has some stuff going on in like his own life with people that come into his apartment, but it's him thinking that he's witnessed a murder. And it's very good.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Yeah. I love a black and white movie if it is. Yeah. So
it's not.
It's not. Okay. 54, I just assumed, but yeah.
And then I watched The Devil Wears Prada for the first time.
Haven't seen it either.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Nice. Nice.
Might make you cry at the end. I was surprised.
What's it on? If you watched it, or is it just DVD you watched it?
It was on HBO, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Meryl
Sounds
Streep,
like you'd recommend. Yeah.
Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci.
Love Anne
Come on.
Hathaway. Yeah.
And then the last thing that I watched, it was I watched Devil Wears Prada. And then what was the other one I watched?
What was the other one?
It was another like I was like, oh, this is like a 5-star. But I'll let
Yeah. Well, it's third week in a row where I've just been watching Ted Lasso. So now I'm on season 3, the last season, and I'm like a third halfway through. But I hadn't finished season 2 when we talked last week. And I will say, like, it definitely, season 2 wasn't to me as good as season 1. It was good. I just think season 1 is like almost perfect. And I think what was kind of amazing about season 2 is that they took this character that was so lovable in season 1 and then just like made me hate his guts. Like I couldn't have hated him more by the end of the season. And I was like, I love when, like, yes, I wish better for the character, right? Like I like the character and I wanted a better route for him, sure. But I love when like shows can do that, and like in writing and in acting make you flip on a character, or, you know, and your perspective on them. Like, cause I think it's amazing to see writing wise and acting wise. So I'll give it props to that. But like, I think because of like the amount of hate I had towards a certain character, it didn't feel like as wholesome of an ending for a season as season 1 did, you know? So yeah, but I think the show's been great. It's been moving in directions I don't expect, and season 3's been exciting so far. And
nice.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Guess you couldn't think of it.
No, it was Tombstone.
No. Oh, nice. That wasn't the first time you'd seen that, right?
No, but I was rewatching it, and
so good, dude.
It's so weird watching it after seeing the documentary.
Right.
Because there's just so many, like,
so many things you're missing, you think.
Ike Clanton is not even, like, he's not the leader of the Cowboys in that movie. Like, Curly Bill is more the leader of the Cowboys. And there's no, you know,
you almost have to take it as like an alternate reality that Tombstone is.
Yeah. But it's interesting because in the documentary, the Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War documentary, it literally talks about how Wyatt Earp, like, his reputation was so tarnished in a way because of the events that happened in Tombstone.
Right.
That he was always like kind of bothered by it, and eventually began to be a Western consultant on Hollywood movies.
Oh, that's cool.
That was trying to like, and so like obviously Hollywood like Hollywoodized things, but like he tried to make the stories like more of a black and white of like good and bad. And like obviously he became like the good guy. And I still think overall, if you watch the documentary, like Wyatt Earp is obviously the good guy in the story, even though he's a pretty
not a great guy, right?
Well, like just not like he's a bad guy, but like just like gray. There's gray areas.
Sure.
And so it's just interesting seeing Tombstone as a result of that, trying to tell his story in like a better light, where it's like there's no courtroom drama. There's no like the sheriff getting upset. Like the sheriff did get upset about him taking his girl, but not to the extent that like it actually happened. Right. Not anything to do with like.
So they made Wyatt, like a better received and better liked guy than he actually was.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, movies take liberties. No, I understand.
But it's just weird, all the things that are not in it.
Right.
Because you're like, it does feel like an alternate reality. I'm like, that is not that at all.
Right. What happened? Right.
Like they don't even.
Interesting.
They talk about Wyatt and Tombstone and his brothers like they rolled in here and I don't want any part of that. I don't want to, like he's like, don't drag me back into this. Like there was none of that in the actual story, unless I'm not aware of that particular, but there was no mention of him being a reluctant lawman,
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're making me really want to watch the documentary now.
Yeah.
And then watch the movie.
There was no like, we're going to make it big, boys, and we're going to run the poker table, like
right.
None of that.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, dope. Yeah. I'm looking for Tombstone on VHS, so maybe I'll watch it when I get that. But yeah, I think that's everything we watched and all we wanted to talk about this week.
Yes.
As always, thank you for watching. And we release on our episodes on Mondays and then our clips on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. If you want to watch us on YouTube, episodes release audio versions on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. If you want to follow our social medias, the links to those are in the description below. And if you want to give us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or subscribe, we'd always appreciate it.
And as always, happy Labor Day, because this is probably coming out on Labor Day.
It will.
Happy Labor Day, everybody.
Yes,
Hope
sir.
You had a good long weekend and you're continuing to do so.
Yeah.
And
hope you have a good week coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And until next time.